Hey West Ham fans, welcome to another video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because today the subject is serious. The difference in mood between two Premier League fan bases has never been so clear. On one side, Crystal Palace riding a massive positive wave on the other, our West Ham trying to find direction, identity, and above all answers. And I'm going to tie it all together by looking at what's happening over there and what needs to change here without any fluff. Let's start with the context around us. Palace are coming off a huge unbeaten run, around 16 matches counting the end of last season and the start of this one. It wasn't just a list of easy games either. Chelsea away, Nottingham Forest in a rivalry atmosphere, even a tough cup clash with Sunderland. They kept going, competing, surviving. And that changes the mood when you haven't lost for so long. The dressing room buzzes differently, the fans buy into the idea, and matches are approached with the confidence of a side that always feels close to picking up points. The result is simple, a light atmosphere, and a sense that the path is set. Were there bumps off the pitch? Yes. A UEFA decision pushed Palace into the conference. There was transfer market drama, big clubs circling key players. But even so, the internal message stayed clear, live in the now. Their supporters could be counting pennies, talking about PSR 5 or 10-year plans, but no. They embraced the present, embraced the manager, embraced the squad. And when you live in the present during a good wave, everything seems possible, competing in Europe, going deep in cups, keeping up the league run. It's the classic, let's ride the wave. Now take a deep breath because here comes our turn. What hurts at West Ham goes far beyond the odd poor game. The issue is direction of travel. Football fans don't just want isolated results, they want to sense the club moving towards something. That board and manager speak the same language, that the team has an identity, that there's a plan connecting today and tomorrow. And honestly, that's what we're not feeling. It seems the car is stuck in neutral. Not in first gear, not in reverse, just stuck. And when the atmosphere stalls, everything feels heavier. The endless debate about the stadium comes back, and it's not new. It's not just, oh, knock down a stand and it's fixed. It's not add more food concessions and it'll be fine. The discomfort is structural, emotional, historical. The relationship with the ground affects the relationship with the team. Add to that a sense of distance between stands and boardroom arguments over ticket prices, protests being organized. Suddenly, a match becomes wound-scraping. Every goal conceded feels like proof of a point. Every slip-up becomes fuel for frustration. And on the pitch, the expectation was fine. If we can't entertain, at least we can be tough, competitive, pragmatic. The classic, be boring but pick up points. But we haven't even seen that consistently. Instead of a functional West Ham, too often it looks like an insecure one. The team can't sustain performances, the tactical idea doesn't stick, and the leaders meant to carry the load fluctuate. Fans look and think, mate, with this squad, we should at least be 13th, 12th, 11th without stress. And they're right. Our group isn't so poor that we should struggle every game. What's missing is cohesion, conviction, a visible direction. Then comes the question nobody likes to ask in September: is there relegation risk? Is it early? Yes. But today's Premier League doesn't forgive. The promoted sides don't just show up handing out points. Some come up organized, physical, hardened, able to match you in duels and hurt you in details. If you slip in the first 10 rounds, the table tightens, confidence vanishes, and you fall into that spiral we all know too well. That's why there's urgency. Look at the run ahead: Palace away, then Everton away, then Arsenal away. Not exactly friendly ground. And after the international break comes the marathon that decides if we breathe or suffocate home matches, teams in our bracket games that can't be bargained with. This is the window when many English boards decide the manager's fate: keep him until the must-win games, and if it doesn't, make a change during the international break so the replacement gets a full week's work. It's cold, but that's how it works. And here's another point often raised in the stadium and on social media: manager profile. Some coaches fit better with a club, a culture, a fan base. Historically, West Ham have thrived under leaders showing authority, charisma, a bit of controlled chaos. When that spice is missing, when the man is too clinical, too quiet, things don't click if results aren't coming. Because fans need to see themselves represented. When they don't, patience evaporates. Then every press conference feels like a trial, every substitution like a verdict. The mood makes any match feel big, even against teams that aren't. Back to Saturday, what tactical setup gives us a real chance of points? The map is clear but takes courage: disciplined, low block, tight lines, maximum compactness, and lethal transitions. Palace today want you to come forward, expose yourself, and give them space to dismantle you. The antidote is the opposite: deny space. Deny pace, deny comfort, and survive on set pieces and the 2 or 3 breaks that always come. The problem is with protests outside, impatience in the stands, and the manager under pressure who has the conviction to go out and call a 0-0 the plan. Concede early and it's a cauldron. Sit too deep and the crowd fumes. Pure crossroads. Even so, there are paths. First, attacking set pieces. They don't enjoy defending under their own crossbar when a series of corners pile up. Second, protect our box against back post crosses where we've suffered. Third, carefully choose our outlet. We need a winger who can take hits, hold the first ball, and win fouls to give us breath. Fourth, the mental game. No open duel in the first 20 minutes. Cool their stadium, and by extension, cool the anxiety of our own traveling fans. In the end, the picture is this: on one side, a Palace living in the present, confident with a manager riding high and a squad buying in. On the other, West Ham searching for identity, order, and a result to change the mood. Football is about moments, yes, but also narrative. A well-played night at Selhurst Park changes the conversation, changes the headlines, changes the dressing room. And that's why Saturday is worth more than 3 points. It's about direction. Now let's calmly talk about what needs to be done on the pitch, because this match against Crystal Palace isn't about miracles. It's about discipline and executing the basics. If West Ham do the simple things very well, the match exists. But if we try to improvise in the heat of the moment, it becomes Russian roulette away from home. In defense, the greatest care has to be inside the box and against crosses. Palace like to speed up down the flanks and deliver balls to the back post, always with plenty of players arriving. The secret to neutralizing this is not to allow comfortable crosses. The center back on the ball side must step out firmly to block, while the opposite center back must protect the far post, as if he were the opponent's striker. The fullbacks should tuck inside, and the holding midfielder on the ball side needs to cut the low pass. It's repetitive, it's not pretty, but that's how you keep the score at 0. The second detail is the fight for second balls. Palace press with a high line, and when they win the first duel, they attack aggressively on the rebound. If West Ham lose the loose ball at the edge of the box, medium-distance shots become a constant threat. That's why one of our midfielders must hold position protecting the edge of the box, while the other can be more aggressive in cutting vertical passes. When the ball drops, there's no point just booting it away blindly. The first pass has to be clean, preferably a short diagonal to the winger who drops and combines. If that's not possible, a long switch to the opposite flank can break the press. Aimless clearances only hand possession back and tire the team. In offensive transition lies our biggest weapon. But a good transition is not about speed alone, it's about decision-making. The first pass after winning the ball must be accurate. If Bowen can receive to feet and Paquetá appears between the lines, Palace instinctively drop back because nobody wants to be exposed with an open defense. From there we have two paths. The first is the short attack with quick 1-2s and runs in behind to put the striker through on goal. The second is the long attack switching play to the blind side and leaving our winger one-on-one with space to run. This move must be trained repeatedly because it could be the key to the game. Another point is set pieces. This is where West Ham need to be true to their roots. Corners and wide free kicks are golden chances. We must use rehearsed routines, smart blocks, and coordinated runs to attack the near post and flick on towards the far post. Palace have good headers of the ball, but they don't always organize the second ball well. If the flick goes through, someone has to be ready to finish the rebound. There will be moments when their fans demand high pressing. That's when West Ham need to rest with the ball. Exchange simple passes for a minute or two, draw a foul, breathe. It's not about circling their box, it's about cooling the game and showing that the tempo can be ours too. This has a massive psychological effect. Their stadium loses intensity, and our confidence grows. Game management has to be minute by minute. In the first 15 minutes, no experiments. Maximum compactness and zero risk. From the 16th to the 30th, target 1, opposing fullback for pressure. From the 31st to halftime, look to win fouls near the box, because 2 well-struck free kicks are worth more than 5 forced crosses. After the break, Palace usually raise their tempo. That's when fresh legs must come in early to turn transitions into knives. If the score is still 0-0 after an hour, calm must prevail. And in the last 15 minutes, it's a mental game. If we're ahead, a clear back 5 and a striker to hold the ball up. If we're behind, flood the box, double up on the attacking fullback, and fight until the last breath. All this needs to be accompanied by mentality. The biggest battle this Saturday isn't only tactical, it's emotional. Palace arrive living in the moment, confident with a manager on the rise and a squad fully bought in. West Ham arrive carrying the anxiety and pressure of tough weeks. But a well-played night at Selhurst Park can flip the mood in 24 hours. That is exactly the weight of this match. As for likely scenarios, a competitive 1-1 draw or even a 0-0 already serves as a brick for rebuilding. A simple 1-0 victory built on a set piece or a clinical transition changes the season's narrative. And even a narrow defeat can be handled as long as the performance is solid. What cannot happen is to get dragged into an open game and become easy prey. And why does all this matter so much? Because the table doesn't wait. After Palace, it's Everton away and Arsenal away. That's why every point now is worth double. Holding a draw away against a team in form shifts the pressure onto the direct clashes at home after the international break. If we stumble in the so-called must-win matches, we become a target near the bottom. But if we do the basics now, we can face the coming fixtures with renewed confidence. And there's also the role of our supporters. Protest is legitimate, but during the 90 minutes, the stands must become a cauldron. The team feel it when the energy comes with them, and the opponent feels the pressure. In matches decided by such fine margins, this makes a real difference. In the end, Saturday is about more than 3 points. It's the chance to show that West Ham can still organize, compete, and play like a big Premier League club. Palace are enjoying a bright present, but we have the chance to change course. And it all starts with an intelligent, disciplined, and mature performance. When we talk about West Ham, we can't avoid some key figures who carry the responsibility in matches like this. And I'll start with Jared Bowen. He is the spark that can change the match in a single play. Bowen has pace, aggression, and a nose for goal. But the key detail is that he can't play isolated. He can't keep receiving the ball with his back to goal against 2 markers. Ideally, Bowen must be released into space, diagonally making the most of the transitions we mentioned earlier. If West Ham manage to set Bowen running with space ahead, he becomes the biggest weapon against Crystal Palace. Another fundamental point is Lucas Paquetá. He is the brain of this team even when not in top form. Paquetá has the ability to receive between the lines, turn quickly, and pick out runners. The problem is that too often he carries the ball excessively and gets exposed to hard midfield challenges. His mission in this game is to be simple but decisive. 1 or 2 touches to add speed to the transition, nothing about trying to solve it all alone. If Paquetá stays lucid, West Ham's attack breathes. And we can't ignore the situation of our center forward. The reference man up front has to play a sacrificial game, battling with center backs, holding up long balls, winning fouls. Maybe he won't shoot much, but his role is to create space for Bowen and Paquetá to appear. If the number 9 doesn't hold the first ball, the team will be under constant pressure. It's the kind of game where the striker needs to sweat blood so that the others can shine. The fullbacks are also key pieces. Defensively, they can't make mistakes in one-on-one duels because Palace love to exploit the byline. But offensively, they need courage. A fullback who supports at the right time can be the escape valve that breaks the press. Of course, it can't be done carelessly. Push forward with judgment, pick the right moments, and above all, stay in sync with the covering midfielder. If that works, West Ham can breathe and even push the opponent back. Now let's switch focus and talk about Crystal Palace. Their team has some well-defined weapons. First, intensity down the wings. They like to stretch the pitch and attack at speed. To neutralize this, West Ham must double up when the ball goes into the channel. Leaving a fullback alone won't work because they're strong in the short dribble. A midfielder has to step across and kill the move before the ball reaches the box. Another point is their aerial threat. Palace usually flood the box at corners and wide free kicks, and they have players who attack space really well. West Ham's defense must stay extremely focused. Mixed marking with 1 center back fixed to their most dangerous man and another covering the central zone. Any lapse becomes a goal. The difference maker could be the goalkeeper. If he has the courage to come off his line and punch with authority, half the battle is won in this aspect. And then there's their midfield, which presses hard after losing the ball. The solution is not hoofing it long, but staying calm to find the safe pass. If West Ham can play out of 1 or 2 of those presses with quality, Palace start to lose belief. They rely on the avalanche, and if the avalanche doesn't knock you down, their mentality wavers. Now, beyond the match itself, there's what happens after. If West Ham win, the atmosphere changes completely. An away win against an in-form opponent brings morale, gives the manager backing, and restores confidence to the fans. The discourse shifts to rebuilding, to the team reacting to the worst being behind us. In that scenario, even protests quiet down because 3 Premier League points calm any crisis. If it's a draw, it depends on how. A hard-fought 1-1 with organization and effort can be seen as positive, but a flat, lifeless draw might keep the pressure the same. The detail lies in the performance. If West Ham show competitiveness even with a draw, the outcome is still valid. Now, if it's defeat, the scenario worsens. It's not just about losing, it's about how you lose. If it's a dignified defeat built on effort, you can still argue the team is on track. But if it's a flat defeat with repeated mistakes and no fight, the pressure on the manager explodes. Then comes the inevitable debate about a change in charge. The board historically doesn't have long patience. If the bad run continues, the likelihood of change increases. And that opens another discussion, the profile of the replacement. West Ham don't need a genius, they need someone to restore order and confidence. A manager who quickly gives the team an identity and removes the psychological weight holding the squad back. What must not happen is chasing magical solutions. Competence and firmness are enough to keep this squad in the Premier League. Looking ahead, every match matters. There's no thinking about the whole season now. The focus must be game by game. First Palace, then Everton, then Arsenal. Every point at this stage counts double because the Premier League marathon doesn't forgive. The sooner West Ham escape the bottom zone, the lighter the rest of the season becomes. And to close, let's be direct. What do I expect from this match? A tough, hard-fought duel where West Ham can indeed surprise. The most realistic result may be a 1-1 draw with Palace scoring first and West Ham equalizing late. But we can't rule out a narrow win from a set piece or a sharp transition. That's the type of game that can change a season's narrative. So fans, that's it. The moment is to believe because 90 minutes can change everything. The Premier League waits for no one, and West Ham must show they can still truly compete. The challenge is big, but the opportunity is even bigger. And if you believe we can get a positive result, leave your score prediction in the comments. This support makes a difference, and the team must feel the stands are with them. And that's it, folks. West Ham are in a moment of pressure but also of opportunity. A positive result against Palace could change the mood of the season, restore confidence, and show that we can still compete at a high level. Now it's time for focus, commitment, and unity. West Ham Club, leave your score prediction for the match in the comments and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. We'll be back soon with more news and analysis on our West Ham. Until next time, and come on you Irons. West Ham supporters,